everyone, this is Nao. 皆さんこんにちは、スナオです。今日は英語を話せるようになってから人生変わったなって思うことを紹介していこうと思います。ここからはね、全部英語でいきますので、Let's go! First thing first, let me just introduce myself just a little bit. My name is Nao. I am a Japanese and I was born and raised in Japan. And I started learning English when I became a junior high school student in Japan and a normal like public school in Japan. And on like Instagram and this YouTube channel on those social media, I mostly am talking in English. So some people sometimes tell me that they are surprised that I can speak Japanese too, which doesn't make any sense though, because I am a Japanese. I can't speak Japanese because I am a Japanese. But like this, I also can speak in English too because I worked on it. I think as a Japanese, we necessarily do not need to be able to speak in English fully in our life because we completely can use Japanese for our living, like for any social activity, you know, for making friends, for working, for anything. We can use Japanese and we have no problem with that. So that does make sense that you don't need to learn English necessarily because you're living in Japan. But from my perspective, there are a lot more things that you can feel connected to so deeply only if you have English, not only with Japanese. When I was little, I used to have this kind of feeling that it's kind of hard to live as who I am because I don't know, there's nothing specific happened, nothing specific sad or negative happened to me, but there was this sometimes like when I was hanging out with my friends and talking with my friends, talking with some neighbor, grown-up adults, my neighbors, I was just feeling like it really depends on every one of us. So it's not really a thing that we can apply for all the people in this, you know, certain area or something. But I definitely was feeling that I was an outsider because I had such a different taste, and I feel like I don't know what people are thinking about me, or maybe nothing about me, but I was feeling like I was an outsider and I was having such a different way to look at things. You know, it's really hard to put it into words. For example, when my friends, I think third grade at elementary school, and I had a couple of my friends who had this favorite idols of Japanese, and they were constantly talking about them, and they had this goods that had pictures of their favorite idols in, and they were talking about, you know, all those fun stuff for them, but I wasn't really understanding any of it because I really didn't know how they were so falling in love with those idols and what kind of aspects of them were very attractive for them, for my friends. From those very small tiny things, I was feeling a difference from others, difference of myself from others, and that was okay. But from this kind of point, I wasn't being able to feel okay with it because at school everyone has to look same, everyone has to be lined up in this one row, and we had a lot of strict rules to look like this, to do like this, to study like this, and to plan things in the future like this, and all of those stuff were definitely regulating me to be in this one box and not to be an outsider, because if you are being too much outsider, there would definitely be some people who are just patrolling on us and tells us like kind of you don't belong there, or I don't like you or something, and they just started kicking us out, right? And that was super scary because I was born and grew up in such a small rural area, countryside area of Japan, so people talk and rumors just literally would fly so fast all around that district, and that was such a big deal for me at that moment. I don't feel anything about it now, but it wasn't only me who was there. There was my family and everyone together. We were making for our own living together. So even if I was super young, I was feeling this kind of responsibility to be part of them, surely, and be contributing for them, at least not contributing into any failures as the family. So on that point, like, I was super shy and I was super being in a box type of child. Yeah, I think that would be a totally different image from one that you see right now, but I definitely was. But even if I was feeling those kind of not comfortable feelings sometimes, but I wasn't doing anything that could change that situation or myself, because I just didn't have such passion for that, or like I didn't even know what to do. So maybe that's why. But when I was about to become a junior high school student, so 12, 13 years old, I met English, and I literally fell in love with English, like through music in my case. So around that time, for the first time in my life ever, I knew this was the feeling of love. This is the feeling, this is the way how I feel love, this or that. So I just knew it, and from that moment I immediately started getting obsessed with it and like getting into deeper and deeper and deeper into it. I think that happened because I had this kind of instinct that this would be my life-changing something, English. So I was studying, but there were a lot of things in the way that weren't really working out for me very well. For me, who really wanted to be able to speak it so fluently and smoothly, to have conversation with people. But I had a lot of obstacles getting in the way, but I finally made it, and that's how my life has been changing gradually. One of the things that completely surprised me was a thing that happened when I was studying at the college. I actually graduated from the Nagasaki University when I was 18, 19, so a freshman at the university. I luckily got a chance to go to New York and attend this conference at the United Nations. That was super surprising, right? So that was Nagasaki. That was the city that had a bomb happened from the sky in 1945. So that's a very historic event and tragedy happened. That is why the city had this kind of program for young people to be able to get this opportunity to be in the room with international people, like globally, not only with this domestic gathering of people, but also they want us to see the world internationally. That's the chance that I could have gotten so luckily and so thankfully, and that happened because I could have spoken English. That wasn't the whole 100% reason that I got that chance. I talked about other things too, but this very strong necessary thing, English, the communication tool, was definitely needed to be able to attend the conference in the UN, because the conference it's very specific fields of academic studying, right? And that's the conference which was about some issues that are still unsolved, because if it's solved and if it's settled, we have nothing to talk about, right? There are a lot of problems that we have on this earth. So that is the reason that we are having this discussion and talking and negotiation with each other. It's in making compromise sometimes and making these decisions for this goal or something. So that is the conference. So we definitely need a language to understand it, right? We had to understand, not all of them, but as much as possible, we needed to understand what they were talking about in the conference, even if that conference had such a specific, they included such a professional words and vocabularies and phrases and content too. So the conference that I attended, just to make sure, the conference that I attended was for the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, which is Hakufukaku Sanjaku in Japanese, and I did attend that one of the conferences in the UN. And looking back my life, I was just sitting on this chair in a small room in a small rural, people rumoring countryside area of Japan who didn't have any access to studying abroad. All of those things, I had nothing. I just had school, which is super lucky and super fortunate. But at the time, I was super feeling this kind of jealousy for my friends or classmates who were also studying English at primary school too, besides this public school. But because I didn't have chance to go there, I was just completely stuck in my own shell and was inside the box completely and making behaviors that could have been less outstanding as much as possible. That was how I lived my life at that time. But like 5 years after, that was when I was 19 that I attended the conference at the UN. So around like 5 to 6 years later, I could have used English to have this international discussion with such matured people who had such a rich and wide knowledges and experiences. So that was super precious. So this is the reason that people say something like you have to recognize what you want to do specifically with English, because it's possible for you to have this speaking skill of English. It's really possible. But even if it's possible for you to have the skill of speaking it, if you have no idea of how you're using them for, what you're using them for, then it's like useless, right? Like even if you have this very nice knife here, if you don't have any food or any cutting board, you can't do nothing. You can't make anything good, tasty. So that's the reason that the people are insisting on this need that you have the clear image to use English for and with. Even in my case, I never imagined myself being able to attend the conference in the UN at such a young age. You really can't expect what will happen, but it's really possible for you to have English speaking skill and use it in actual way. So I think it's really important to make sure that you are doing these right things for being able to speak it. But at the same time, it's super important too to have this clear, concrete image inside your head or heart that you use English with or for. In that sense, I haven't made my dream come true yet, because the first dream that I had when I was studying English was that I wanted to meet and be friends with this favorite worldwide singers, Little Mix. So I haven't made it come true yet. So in that sense, I'm still in the middle of journey for that goal, for that clear image that I have in my head. So I'm I always have been dreaming of it so concretely. So you should do the same at the same time that you are doing what you're supposed to do to be able to speak English. So yeah, that's the story that I want to share with you guys for today's video. If you like my video, please give me a lot of thumbs up. Also, I have this official line account which I constantly sharing this information about my seminar or consulting group discussion event or whatever. I am sharing those private information only in that official line account. So if you are interested in my work or any events that I am involved with, please go to register it. That's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video, and see you guys in the next video. Temperature is getting higher and higher recent days, so please take care of yourself first priority. See you guys next. Bye.